If you don't know, in my early YouTube days, I mentioned that Sword Calamity Gundam was one of the kits I really wanted Bandai to make. So when Bandai announced the new full mechanics line and revealed the Calamity Gundam, I immediately knew they were eventually going to make a Sword Calamity version, and that it would be a premium Bandai. And yep, I was right. I told myself I'd save up and grab the P-Bandai release, but life happened and I missed the pre-orders. And as usual, the longer you wait on P-Bandai kits, the more expensive they get unless they reissue them. So I prayed to the bootleg gods and said, please, give us a bootleg Sword Calamity Gundam. And they answered. And it was seemingly called Bao Bao JMS rebrand of Calamity. And I said to myself, we're almost there. Please make it. They did. Just months later, they just did. So here we are, the Sword Calamity Gundam. Now honestly, I don't even know what brand is truly behind this. Some say Bao Bao, others say JMS, and some say Tiger Model. They might be just one company. I genuinely can't keep up with these knockoff brand names anymore. For the sake of this video, I just call it MH-02 since that's how it was listed when I bought it. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the things I'm mixed about. Before anything else, a quick disclaimer. Bandai will always have a better quality. If you can find the original and you have the budget for it, the original will always be superior, no matter how good the bootleg is. Now that's out of the way, time to talk about the build experience. I'll be straight with you, the building process was actually great. It was easy, they properly replicated the build structure of the original kit. Since this isn't a master grade, they were able to take advantage of the simplicity of the full mechanic design. But just when everything was going smoothly, disaster struck. For the first time ever, I have encountered missing parts. And of course, they were parts related to the sword effect pieces. That was such a bummer. I was genuinely disappointed. It is also partly my fault because I didn't double check the runners when I first got it. If I had known earlier, I could have returned it. Instead, it just sat there for weeks unbuilt. The missing parts could have been lost during delivery, or maybe it was a packaging issue. Who knows? One thing I will say though, the box quality is absolute garbage. Seriously. Thankfully, the missing parts are minor and can be fixed. For now, I am using rice clay to hold the effect parts in place until I properly fix it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the downside of bootleg kits. With that said, let's go straight for its articulation. Head can only turn from side to side because of that lower back part of its head. Looking up and down, it's fine. It's double jointed, so you can shake around the head, but people usually call it the jig-a-jig-jig. Okay, for its arms, full rotation of the arm, he does contain a very articulated shoulders that can go front to back and can raise his arm that far. Although, be careful on the arm part, it's kinda tight to be honest. He does not have that shoulder artillery, so only has that boomerang for its armor plate. And arms can only move from side to side, no full rotation there. Lastly, the wrist and the elbow are double jointed. For the torso, he surprisingly has a very unique ab crunch that is connected to the waist part, but we have arrived at our first problem. For this kit, it pops us when I do back crunch and has only minimal side-to-side articulation, which from overall parts the torso is the weakest one right here. For the front skirt, you can go that far if you pull it up. And then for the bat flap, it's one of those one-piece part that you can cut yourself so that you can have individual articulation. Side skirt can move front and back, and whoops, don't worry about that, they falls down, but they're not the annoying ones. But if you're a bit extreme with your pose, some parts like that part, usually they fall down. For the legs, it can have a full kick. Again, front back can go that far, and then back can go that far. Like I mentioned earlier, if you go that far in the side, you will knock off the side skirt. Alright, let me just put that back right there. And then you have a double jointed knee bending right there. And then surprisingly, this legs has a full rotation. For the ankles, it has decent articulation, but as you can see, that's far as it can go. Lastly, there's a gimmick where you can just open the panel in his legs and you can just grab the knife and the GAT X133 molded in it. For the remaining weapons and accessories, these weapons have specific names, and no, I will not dare say those German names. Sword Calamity contains 2 anti-ship swords, 2 beam boomerangs, 2 rocket anchor. Then you have 2 blade effect parts for the sword and 2 smaller beams for the bottom sword. An effect parts when 2 swords are combined, and 2 boomerang effects. You will be given 2 wires that you'll be connecting to your rocket anchor. Make sure to follow the instructions properly, as it does require cutting a wire to attach the connectors. So yeah, that's everything the kit comes with. Overall, it's a solid kit. It's pretty much what you'd expect from a 1/100 full mechanics kit. The torso doesn't have the same articulation range as Bandai's version, but I am thankful it's not loose. In fact, most of the ball joints aren't even loose at all, which is great. And even though I was frustrated about the missing parts, and I did have a little bit of copium for a bit where I'm the one who lost the parts and maybe it's laying around here somewhere. But losing 3 parts at the same time doesn't really happen, and all the parts are the same, by the way. But with all that, I played around with this kit a lot and nothing wore down or fell apart. You just have to work with it a bit to get some decent poses. Just remember, this is a 1/100 full mechanics kit. Don't expect a crazy agility. This thing is meant to stand on your shelf and gives aura. Like most 1/100 kits do. I love Sword Calamity design. I know I glaze this mobile suit a lot, but it just looks incredible. The transition from long-range artillery to melee-focused combat just works, man. There's something about Calamity's design that gives me that Shogun warrior vibes. I don't know if it's the body proportion or armor styling, but it feels inspired by that era. Maybe that's why it fits so well in that Astray manga timeline. Well, sadly, I don't have the 1/100 HG Blue Frame second L yet. Not the MG one, the older 1/100 HG. If I ever find one, I'll explain why that pairing matters. Trust me. For the size comparison, here it is side by side with the GAT Brother unit, my Painted Strike Rouge. Here it is with the high-grade Revive RX-782, my last video's GBC Exia, and lastly, my oldest non-grade 1/100 Astrea Gundam. Overall, I love this kit. The missing parts were almost a deal breaker for me, but maybe I just got unlucky. Other people who bought this don't seem to have that kind of issue. Again, if you can afford the Bandai version, go for it. But if you already own the original Calamity and don't want to overspend or just really want a Sword Calamity for customization purposes, this bootleg will absolutely do the job. And just make sure to double check before you start building. Alright, if you made this part, thank you so much for watching. By the way, while editing this video, I noticed I still had food left in my nails. Oh my god! Yeah, I was eating out with my family, and it was the type of food when we use our hands, you know, Filipino stuff. And right after that, I got too excited and started building this kit. Oh well, what can you do? I'll be more self aware next time. Alright. Alright, thanks again for watching. I'll be doing something different in the next video since the kits I ordered are arriving late. I bought some Gundams from Japan, but the carrier said they have delayed due to the Chinese New Year holiday. So we wait. Alright. Have fun building, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.